Paramount buried a Yellowstone prequel called 6666 that would have changed everything about the franchise, and the reason they killed it is something they never wanted you to know. The deal was signed. The pilot was filmed. A full series order was on the table. Then, quietly, it vanished. And the story of why tells you everything about how Hollywood actually works. This wasn't a pitch that fell apart in a room. This was a greenlit show, embedded inside one of the most-watched cable episodes of 2022, seen by 11 million people, and then buried by the same network that ordered it. The real reason isn't creative. It's much worse than that. To understand what got killed, you have to go back to 2020. Yellowstone was already the most-watched scripted cable drama in America, a number nobody in television had seen in 15 years. Taylor Sheridan, the writer-director who created it, had become Paramount's most valuable human asset, and Paramount knew they needed to build an empire around him before someone else did. The concept for 6666, pronounced 4 sixes, grew directly out of Yellowstone's DNA. The 4 Sixes Ranch in Guthrie, Texas, is one of the oldest continuously operating cattle operations in American history, founded in 1870, sprawling across 350,000 acres. Sheridan wove it into Yellowstone's 4th season through Jimmy Herdstrom, the outsider played by Jefferson White, who gets sent to Texas to learn what it actually means to be a cowboy. The audience loved Jimmy. The network noticed. By mid-2021, development conversations had turned into something more serious. Here's what Paramount doesn't advertise. In September 2021, the trade press confirmed a full spin-off series called 6666 was in active development at Paramount+. Not in development the way studios use that word to mean they paid someone to write an outline. In development meaning, writers' rooms staffed, showrunner conversations underway, and most importantly, a backdoor pilot already in production, shot alongside Yellowstone Season 4. A backdoor pilot is exactly what it sounds like. A full pilot episode disguised as a regular episode of an existing show, designed to launch the spin-off without the spin-off having to prove itself from scratch. That pilot aired on January 2, 2022, embedded inside the Season 4 finale, watched by 11 million people. 11 million. For context, that number beats the entire opening week viewership of most streaming originals combined. Paramount had, in effect, already launched the show. The audience had already voted. And Sheridan personally held an ownership stake in the actual 4 Sixes Ranch. He'd purchased it in 2021, making him not just the creative voice but a literal financial stakeholder in the property. The deal existed. The audience existed. The show existed. Then it didn't. What started happening in 2022 is where the story gets complicated. Paramount Plus was scaling aggressively, funding 1883 with a reported budget north of $80 million, then immediately commissioning 1923, a second Yellowstone prequel set between the world wars, starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. 2 prestige historical dramas, both Sheridan, both expensive, both demanding his time simultaneously. And Sheridan's overall deal, reportedly worth $200 million, signed with Paramount in 2022, one of the largest in television history, came with expectations. Quantity expectations. Lioness, Special Ops, Bass Reeves. The Sheridan universe was expanding in every direction at once. Remember that signed 6666 deal? Here's where it started to die. Not because the show was bad, because the empire got too big for its own infrastructure. This is the part they really buried. By late 2022, Paramount Plus was hemorrhaging money. The streaming wars had turned brutal. Disney Plus had posted a $4 billion loss. Netflix had lost subscribers for the first time in a decade. And Wall Street was demanding that every streaming platform prove it could eventually break even. Paramount's leadership made a strategic decision. Double down on the historical prequels because subscribers were paying for them, and quietly restructure the contemporary spin-offs. 6666, as originally conceived, a present-day drama set at a working Texas cattle ranch, built around Jefferson White's Jimmy, required its own cast, its own location infrastructure, its own production pipeline entirely separate from the Montana machine. It was expensive in a way that couldn't be absorbed into the existing operation. But here is the counterintuitive part, the part that rewrites the story you've been told. 6666 wasn't killed by failure. It was killed by success. The historical prequels were performing well enough that Paramount executives made a bet. Audiences want the past, not the present. They want origin stories, not continuations. So they took the resources earmarked for 6666 and redirected them toward 1923 and toward an internal 1944 concept that never made it past closed-door conversations. The contemporary show, the one that already had a live audience of 11 million, was traded away for a historical bet that never fully paid out either. Think about what that actually cost the franchise. Jefferson White's Jimmy Herdstrom is one of the most beloved characters in the entire Yellowstone universe. The audience surrogate, the outsider learning what viewers were supposed to learn. A full series built around his journey at the Four Sixes would have kept the contemporary timeline alive, while Yellowstone itself was navigating Kevin Costner's contract war in 2023, which nearly killed the flagship outright. 6666 could have been the franchise's insurance policy. Instead, it became the project nobody at Paramount will admit they canceled. The question Paramount still won't answer: who made the final call, and what did Taylor Sheridan, the man who literally owns that ranch, say when they killed it? And while you're sitting with that, ask yourself what Netflix buried at exactly the same moment, and whether the studio that ordered the project is still telling you it never existed.